Oh, hey everybody, it's me. I'm back making another video. Sorry I've been gone for, I haven't made a video for 2-3 days, and I was gonna make a video yesterday, but had a lot of stuff come up, and then didn't get home till 10, and then of course I had some personal stuff that I had to go through, so really didn't want to make a video yesterday. But today I'm here making you a video, and this is gonna be talking about my worst wrestling video games ever, since SmackDown 2009 was a good game, and then of course there's a new SmackDown game, a SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, which is coming out later this year. And then of course you have the Legends of WrestleMania game, which has got some pretty decent reviews. And then you got other wrestling games coming out pretty soon this year, and then probably another TNA game, but they're probably moving that to next year. I thought I'd give you some of my worst wrestling games ever, and these are the games that, in my opinion, are just pure crap, and and I can't believe why I was playing these games. And I'm just gonna give you my opinion overall of these games that I have on this list. So let's start off with the first game that I have on this list, which was WWF In Your House for the PlayStation 1 and the PC. This was a sequel to WrestleMania, the arcade game. It kind of played a little bit the same, but it was sort of played more like a Mortal Kombat type of fighting game than more of a wrestling game, and that's what this game kind of lacked. It lacked most of what WrestleMania the arcade game had, and this game was just too damn hard. And the thing that stuck out for WrestleMania the arcade game is no matter what difficulty it was, or no matter how bad you were, you somehow still were going to end up beating that game either way, because that game was just fun, the controls are easy to learn and everything else. But when you play this game, it's just completely out the window. The controls were horrible in this game, and like I said, it felt like I was playing a Mortal Kombat game more than a wrestling game, which that shouldn't be a feeling you should be getting when you play a wrestling game. Also the graphics are pretty terrible, and then every stage is you're not fighting in the ring, you're fighting in different areas, which really the WWF should have just stuck with what WrestleMania the arcade game had, which was just fighting in arenas instead of fighting in deserts and sewers and stuff like that. This game also had fatalities, which WrestleMania the arcade game didn't have. You just pinned your opponent. That's what this game should have did, but apparently it didn't do that, and it stuck to what the Mortal Kombat formula of finishing your opponent off, whether it was the Heartbreak Hotel dropping on you, the graveyard thing, or many other things. And this game was just awful, and I recommend, if you haven't played this game, stay away from it, because it's just a really bad game. The next game I got on this list is the WWF WrestleMania for the NES. Now I know many reviewers have torn this game a new asshole, and I'm not really going to go into the stuff they said about this game, because you probably already know, because some of you probably already watched the reviews. But I'm just going to say a little bit of why this game is bad. Terrible hit detection. I mean, you could hit somebody in this game, but then most of the time you won't hit them, and then of course when you try to hit them, then they start running around like chickens, getting their head cut off. The controls are pretty awkward in this game. The AI doesn't put up much of a challenge in this game, as it just lets you dominate them, and it's just boring playing a game where the AI just really puts up no fight at all. I mean, where's the challenge in a game like this, where you want to be challenged but you're not getting challenged at all? And that's the thing this game lacked. And then the graphics are just horrible, and the music, the only thing good about this game is the music, as the music sounds like the counterparts of the wrestlers who come out to the theme music from in the WWE. And that's pretty much the only positive thing about this game. But all the negative stuff is what I said about this game. Just an awful game. Stay away from this game. Horrible game. Next game I got on here, I might get a lot of hate on this game, but I don't really give a damn, because this game was just not that good. This was a sequel to WWF Warzone. This was WWF Attitude. This game had some of the worst graphics I've ever seen for any system, whether it was the 64 or the PlayStation 1. The graphics for the characters were just awful, and they didn't look anything like many of the counterparts of the wrestlers that were in the game. The controls were kind of awkward, and they were pretty bad, as you had to press a weird combination to do just one move and then do one finishing move. The gameplay is pretty bad, and the AI really doesn't the AI will dominate you sometimes, but then most of the time the AI won't put up a fight. And overall, this was just not a fun game, and I recommend, if you haven't played this, don't play it, because it's just not a fun game at all. Terrible. Same thing with this game, WWF Warzone, which, like I said, is what Attitude came from. Pretty much the same thing. Awful graphics and bad controls and bad gameplay. Moving on to the next game, I got WCW Thunder, which is one of the games that I really hate, and to this day I don't understand why my mom bought this game for me. Well, she knew I liked WCW, but I don't understand why I got this game. This game was just awful. I mean, the controls were horrible. There's a lot of glitches in this game. The AI hardly puts up a fight. Most of the time it puts up a fight, then most of the other time it doesn't. The controls are shit. The commentary is okay, but sometimes it kind of gets annoying. And overall, this is just a terrible, terrible game, and I recommend stay away from this game. Same thing with this game, WCW Nitro, as it's basically the same thing as Thunder, and it kind of the whole thing came from the whole Thunder came from Nitro. Just an awful game, not much to say, just a terrible game. Next game on here that I really hate is WCW Mayhem. I was looking forward to this game when I heard that this game would come out, but then when I found out EA made it, I was like, oh man. And boy, was I right about this, as this game was just bad. The hit detection is horrible, the controls are bad, the graphics are horrible, and the gameplay is pretty bad, and it has really boring gameplay to the point where you just get real bored playing this game. And overall, just not a fun game to play, and I recommend stay away from this game. Same with Backstage Assault. Hit detection is so bad in this game. I don't know why they didn't fix that, and I don't know why they didn't fix the hit detection in the Backstage Assault, because they knew it was one of the problems in Mayhem, but yet they didn't fix it, and they just let it go. And that's the whole problem with WCW Backstage Assault, is the hit detection sucks. The gameplay is boring. I mean, you'll get bored of this game in the first 5 minutes you play this. That's how bad this game is. The graphics are horrible, as none of the wrestlers look like their counterparts. The controls are pretty bad, and the environments, you don't fight in the ring, you're always fighting in these random environments, and it's just like, what the fuck were they thinking when they made this game by not having you fight in the ring and fighting on these backstage? It's just horrible. I don't know why WCW or EA didn't fix any of those problems from what happened in Mayhem. And yeah, that's pretty much why I got this on here. Next game, the final game on here, is WWF Wrestling Challenge. It's better than WrestleMania for the NES, but that's not really saying much. Still a bad game, awful controls, bad gameplay, bad music, as the music is just awful in this game. AI doesn't put up much of a fight like it did in the WrestleMania game for the NES, and pretty much just yeah, and the gameplay is bad. The hit detection sucks in this game. Every time you try to hit the AI just keeps running around like in the WrestleMania game for the NES with this, like a chicken who has his head cut off, and that's not what you want to play. That's not what you want to see in a game you want to play, a wrestling game that you want to play. Overall, just a really bad game, and I recommend you stay away from this game. Anyhow, that's just me coming back with the new video of my worst wrestling games ever. I'm going to try to hit you up with the best wrestling games ever tomorrow. Hope you like my video. You can rate, you can comment, you can give me a video response if you like. because I want to hear what some of you guys got to say and what some of your worst wrestling games are. And that's pretty much it. Until then, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next video, which is tomorrow. Till then, peace.